current setup, and it's working out flawlessly for me. You don't have to run it. You can take this video as information. And I'm also going to improve on this setup once I get to max out my player with the prestige, and I'll be able to add a little bit more to it. As far as my major, and I like to use my my static kinetic jump. Some people like to use grapple and hook. I tried them both. This one works for me. As far as my abilities go, I like to have Bulldozer, Eagle Eye, and Berserker. Those are the ones that works for me. Now, as far as my exotic skills go, right now, I currently have the gravitational reaction. But I will say for the record that as far as my recommended exotic skill is Shattered Shield. I mostly put this on just to test it out because I heard good things about it. It's pretty good, but I think Shattered Shield is pretty good too. But the good thing about the Frost Vortex is actually really good. It's absolutely good. But I did hear good things about Chaos Rounds. So again, with season 4, I'm probably gonna end up with both, but this is the one that I have currently right now. This one is a good one too. Now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna talk about my gun real quick and my setup with my weapon. Oh yeah, by the way, my field equipment is, I tried a lot of them. I tried almost every one of them. And I would have to say that the one that works for me the most is the stun grenades, only because when I'm using the stun grenades, I'll be able to stun pretty much anything that isn't an elite. And sometimes when you have multiple enemies killing you all at once, there are times when I have enemies shooting me from my left, from my right, so I might just throw a stun grenade to my left, and then I start killing all of the enemies to my right just to give them a breather, and then vice versa. Anyway, I love the fact that I can stun all my enemies, get them off my back for a second. It works out for me personally out of all of the other ones that I've used, because a lot of the other ones is not as good in my opinion. This one, they're good, but this one works out for me more with my particular setup. Now, let me talk about my weapons, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my setup. Right now, on both of my weapons, I have incendiary rounds, right? And this one is only because I always thought about crowd control, right? But I said to myself, I have to sit back and I have to utilize, I'm going to just focus on one thing in one specific area, and I'm going to try to do something completely differently. Like, for example, I want my gun to be as strong as I possibly can. I don't want to think about crowd control with my gun. I would rather think about crowd control in another area. So for my gun, I said to myself, what is going to make it the absolute strongest that it can be? The way that I can make it as strong as it could be is if I put incendiary rounds on there. And incendiary rounds, there's a lot of enemies in this game that don't like to be burned. So by putting this on, I can almost every enemy that I can come across, even if I don't let me talk about them now. You see how it says your upper torso deals more damage when it comes to headshots? Well, I thought about that over and over again, right? And I utilized that in a way that a lot of people didn't use. And I have a hidden ability that I've been using secretly that nobody knows about. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So basically, I wanted to make sure this, because anytime, most people know this, but when you are hitting with hit markers that are yellow versus white, you're going to always deal more damage when you're doing headshots. The only problem is it is really difficult to do headshots because we come from a background of zombies when you have Deadshot Daiquiri. We don't have Deadshot Daiquiri here. So I do love the fact that almost sometimes from the middle of the body all the way up is going to be considered a headshot. Not all the times, but I have way more yellow hit markers now than I did before. The only drawback is you have to reload. But other than that, I do way more damage. So the real question is, I have 200 rounds on this, for example, so I got to reload. So the real question is, would you rather have 200 rounds that are stronger or have 800 rounds with a full magazine that is weaker? Everybody's going to give you a different answer. Me personally, I would rather have 200 rounds that do a way more damage. Not in the hundreds of, when you're looking at those hit markers that are white, when you're hitting like hundreds of, damage, I'm killing things within the thousands. So my setup is designed to take down elites, so it does way more damage. Like pretty much everything that I hit, I'm gonna do way more damage because of my hit markers being yellow. But but it also plays into some of my abilities. For example, Eagle Eye. Now, a lot of people are using this correctly, and some people are using this incorrectly. So I'm gonna just talk about some of this a little bit. Number one, I'm just gonna talk about when I hit critical kills anyway. But by the fact that I deal even more damage because I have Eagle Eye, it's like the difference between seeing white hit markers in the hundreds and seeing yellow hit markers in the thousands. So to me, it makes it way better. So that's why I put this on. And on top of that, when I'm doing more damage with all the other things, it's going to do more damage. So overall, my guns are set up to do the absolute most damage that it could be. So I knew that like I'm going to be straight with my weapons. Now, the only drawback is nothing's perfect. I reload slower because the fact that I have to reload. So this is what I did to kind of like counteract that, sort of. I said, what's the best way for me to counteract that? Well, now that season 4 is around the corner, I know that I can get an extra ability, which I'm gonna put on Gunner. Once I have Gunner, I can put on the biggest magazine possible, and I'll be able to reload fast, and then my player is gonna be absolutely broken. But until then, what I did was on my magazine, I just put on reload, nothing else. I don't want my aim down sight. I don't want to reload and have my magazine smaller. I don't want to have my magazine bigger, but it takes forever for me to reload. And I just didn't want a bigger magazine, but I'm still reloading slow. I just was like, let me just put on just reload madness. So it makes it so it's sort of tolerable. So I have to reload a little bit more often, but every time I reload, it doesn't take as long. So it's like, it helps with the situation. Let me just put it to you like that. So that's how I have my setup. And I'm just going to talk about the hidden ability that I talked about a little while ago too. Now, remember when I told you headshots doing more damage? Well, let me just talk about why would you put this on that deals more damage, but it's going to deal damage by like 40, 50, let's say even up to 100, like, just for shits and giggles. I'm dealing with damage that's in the thousands. So putting on this to give you like an extra 100 is not a big deal. I would rather my gun shoot more accurately, and I'm still doing more damage. And on top of that, if you look at the cons, it's going to give you an aim down sight. It's going to be weaker. I would rather have my aim down sight as best as possible. What I'm saying is I'm going to be doing more damage because of my critical kills and more damage in that regard. So I don't want to make my gun aim down sight slower just to get a little bit more damage range. I don't care about damage range. I care more about critical kill damage. That's more important. That's what I'm getting at. So I want a gun to shoot a little bit more accurately. It doesn't matter which one you put on. It just gives you a little bit more accuracy to make it easier to get those headshots. Now, this is the hidden ability that I wanted to talk about from the beginning. Let me just tell you about it now. Now, remember when I told you when you are hitting headshots, you're going to deal more damage? Well, this is a headshot multiplier. The headshot multiplier basically states that anytime you are getting headshots, it's going to increase the damage on that, right? Now, this is something that a lot of people haven't put 2 and 2 together. Well, let me just explain it in a way that kind of makes sense. When I have sharpshooter on, it's going to be the same as a headshot. You see how it says it deals more damage like a headshot. Now, by me having my weapon on, right? By me having this on, right? I'm going to deal more, my headshot multipliers on. I'm going to deal more damage this way. So that means I was seeing like 4,000 or 5,000, then I end up seeing 6,000 because I put this on. It takes whatever my headshot damage is and multiplies it. Even if I shoot him in the chest, it's still considered a headshot. So because it's a headshot, the game is going to recognize that it's a headshot and multiply that number even further. So I'm going to be dealing even more damage. Oh yeah, it gets better from there. It gets better from there. Let me talk about my abilities real quick. This one, let me talk about. Oh wait a minute. Wait. Let me back up. I'm messing up here. Let me talk about bulldozer for example. Berserk bulldozer for example. This right here is point blank, right? This is gonna deal more damage when you are up close. So if I'm up close to an enemy, I'm going to be doing more damage because I'm up close. But I'm also going to be doing more damage because it's critical kills, most likely I'm going to be hitting. And on top of that, because of my weapon having a bullet multiplier here, I'm going to be dealing even more damage on top of that. So anytime I have an enemy that's far away, I'm going to be doing more critical hits. But if I have an enemy that's even up close, I'm going to be dealing even more damage on top of that. So that's what makes my weapon from a normal weapon to an absolute beast. So this is what works for me. And let me just talk about the other abilities. I already talked about this right here. And this right here, like I said, I didn't want to care about anything else other than making my aim down sight a little bit faster. I want to aim down sight and shoot as much as I possibly could. Kind of like the same reaction like I do with zombies. I literally aim and shoot, just like I'm playing zombies. Because it works out perfectly. Because if you look at my muzzle, right? Oh, I took it off by accident. If you look at my muzzle, it says first shots. It has the most resistance, right? So basically, the first couple of shots that I do is going to shoot more accurately. So it's actually better to do a few shots, let it go, a few shots, let it go. You're going to be doing better accuracy that way than just having a constant shoot. Like for example, a couple of shots like this is going to be doing way more accuracy than having it. Wait, what happened? Did it kick me out of the shooting range? The shooting range glitched out. Because every time, I don't know what happened there, but every time I shoot like this, I'm going to be doing way more damage than just shooting like this. So it actually plays out. I'm going to be doing more damage by doing it that way versus just constantly drilling into them. So it works out in my favor to keep my aim down sight to be as accurate as I possibly could. So that's what works for me. And like I said, the other abilities, it don't matter. Like I said, the aim down sight be as best as possible. This right here, I wanted to have a little bit more hip. To me, having a little bit more movement doesn't hurt. And then again, I cared more about aim down sight and sprint to fire. And then the last one, I just have it so my fire rate is much faster. Because sometimes I'm not shooting. I wait until I'm like shooting if I see yellow hit markers. But the moment I see yellow hit markers, I try to like stay on that spot as long as possible. And because of my fire rate is so good that I'm gonna be. I actually see the enemies like an elite. Like their numbers are dwindling down. It goes by super fast. So my ability works out perfectly for me. The only time that I don't see it like that right away is when I have one of those I'm having a brain fart. The enemies that have like that bazooka on their arm, they shoot it out. I gotta shoot through the armor first, but I can shoot through the armor because I have incendiary rounds. So, and like I said, I think everybody knows this, but I'm gonna just throw it out there anyway. You see my melee weapon, you see how it says light speed on it? It makes it so all of my movement is fast. I'm not sure if it makes my weapons fast too, but basically you run around the map a little bit faster. So I think that's everything about my setup in a nutshell. I don't know if I made the video longer than I needed to, but I just wanted to just explain everything. So like I said, I'm gonna approve on that as it's in a couple of hours when it's time for us to proceed.